I'm going to do a quick little example of what your performance task work should look like when you finally want to transfer it to this handout and you have a sample copy of this in classwork 32. So let's say, for example, your equation is x squared minus 12x minus 28 equal to 0. And we're going to solve it all three ways, and I'm going to show you guys how to do the graph part on decimals. So let's go ahead and start with the solving by factoring first. So again, x squared, you would write it over again. Since it's factoring, we want to figure out what numbers multiplied to the top, combined to the bottom. So we use our x factor, negative 28, negative 12. Ask yourself, what are the two numbers? The two numbers will be 14 times 2, where the 14 is negative. Use your factoring shortcut because of the invisible one here. And then we have equal to 0. Then we go ahead and solve each of these. What makes the first term 0? It's x equal to positive 14. What makes the second factor 0? We say x is negative 2. So the factoring one should be the easiest one of the three. Unless you're doing grouping, then you have a little bit more work. Then we move on to the next one. We're going to solve by the quadratic formula. So I'm going to do the same exact problem, but using the separate method of the quadratic formula. So I'm going to rewrite my problem again. X squared minus 12x minus 28 equal to 0. Identify my a, b, and c. 1, negative 12, and negative 28. I'm going to make sure I show all work. So in this case, I have 12 squared, or negative 12 squared to be exact, minus 4 times 1 times negative 28. And then I just do the multiplication for this. That's 144. It's going to be a positive because I have a negative 4 and a negative 28. You multiply them out, you should get 112. You add them up, you're going to get 256. 256 is a perfect square, and this should be a perfect square because we had a problem that was factorable. So we're going to get 16. Now we're going to take this and plug it into the quadratic formula. So x equals negative b, or negative 12, inside the negative b, plus or minus 16, all over 2 times 1. Again, when you're doing this, you'll probably do a lot neater than I'm doing it right now. So x is equal to 12 plus or minus 16, all over 2. This divides nicely, so I'm going to rewrite it as x equals 6, because 12 and 2 divided gives us 6. 16 divided by 2 gives us 8. And then we can actually add and subtract this. 6 plus 8 gives us 14. Second solution, 6 minus 8 gives us negative 2. And again, my answer here matches my previous answer as it should. Now I'm going to go ahead and solve it using the third method, which is completing the square, and I'm going to make sure I get the same answer. So I'm going to clear this out because I can't save it at this point. And I'm going to scroll up and do completing the square. So I'm going to go ahead and start with that. So again, I'm going to start with my problem, which was x squared minus 12x minus 28 equal to 0. Again, first thing for completing the square, I must have a 1 here, which I do. In this case, I don't have to divide by anything. I just go ahead and move on to the second step by adding 28 to both sides. So I'm going to get that 28 out of there. I'm going to add it to the other side to eliminate it on the left side, and I can put my own c on the right side. So x squared minus 12x equals to 28. And I'm going to put my own number here in the blank spots, and that's going to complete the square. That's going to make it factor nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and complete the square here. So I'm going to put CTS for that. Remember, I take the middle number and I divide it by 2 and I square it. That's going to be 6 squared, which gives me 36. So the number that completes the square is 36 in this case. I'm going to add 36 to the left and to the right. Now I'm going to go ahead and simplify this. On the right side, I'm going to add the 28 and the 36. That is going to give me, 64? On the left side, I'm going to take this trinomial and I'm going to factor it. Again, I'll write out my x factor here. So 36 goes at the top, negative 12 goes at the bottom. 6 times 6 is 36, both negative, makes it add up to 12, negative. So I'm going to use a shortcut and put x minus 6, x minus 6. Now if you want to skip this step on your paper, that's fine. I'm just going to put, you can go straight to x minus 6 squared equal to 64. And then we're going to go ahead and solve this. We solve this by first eliminating the power of 2, which means put a square root on both sides. Don't forget your plus minus. Then we end up getting x minus 6 because they cancel out. The square and the square root cancel. And this should not be, there we go, minus 6. And the square root of 64 is also perfect, so we put plus or minus 8. Then we need to move the 6 to the other side. Since it's negative on the left, it's going to be a positive on the right. And then we just finish it off. 6 plus 8 is 14, or 6 minus 8 is negative 2. Same exact answer as the 2 times from before. So this answer matches the ones from before. So all 3 times you should have the same answer. The only special case would be when factoring gives us non-factorable, so we would only check the other 2. Completing the square and quadratic formula should still match. So now we're going to get into the actual graph itself. All right, so what you're going to do is you're just going to go on to Google and then just go ahead and type in desmos.com. So let's actually, why isn't this clearing out? Let's try it again. There we go. So on Google, just go Desmos, it's not Desmos, desmos.com. Same one from before. Click on Start Graphing. And we're going to type in our equation here on the left side. Our equation was x squared. So you put x2, it's going to put a little 2 at the bottom. So that's not going to work for us. So what we have to type in is 2 to the power of 2. So again, if you just type in the 2, it does that. So you got to put the caret button, which is on the 6. So it makes it go up, and then you put the 2. So 2 to the power, the little thing looks like an up arrow on top of the number 6. And then you type in the rest of your equation. And my equation is 12x minus 28. And as I'm graphing it, you should see the graph pop up. So there's a graph right there. Now I can't see it, so I'm going to go ahead and zoom out. So I'm going to click on this minus sign here on the right-hand side, and it's going to zoom out, and you should be able to see your parabola. So just click far enough so you can see the whole thing. Again, if you can slide it up and down if you want to make it. If you want to change and zoom in more, you can always click around until you can actually see the entire parabola. Then you're going to click on the x-axis, which is where it hits the x-axis here and there. Those are going to be your x-intercepts. And these 2 numbers that show up, the negative 2 and the 14, are the solutions to your quadratic equation. So one more time, these 2 numbers here, negative 2 and 14, are the solutions for your quadratic. So this is just to verify. Once you have this, you're just going to do a screenshot. You're going to click on the whole thing, and you're going to take a picture of it. So again, just take a picture of the actual parabola. I should be able to see it. I should see the intercepts. And then you're going to go back to your paper, and you're going to actually put a picture of the actual graph in this section right here. Again, you will have to print out your graph, so you're going to eventually glue it onto that spot. So that's what needs to go on this spot where it verifies the solutions positive 14, negative 2. So what you'll need to do is once you make the screenshot, you will need to go in and create a Google Doc, put your 4 graphs on one paper, so on one sheet, submit it, I'll print it out for you, and you can then go ahead and glue them on. So that's what you're going to be doing for this last section. So make sure your graphs are not too big, so when I print them out, they'll actually fit on this last corner here, on this bottom right-hand corner. All right, go ahead and make sure you get this done by Friday.